Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. All right, everybody, welcome to Hamilton Happy Hour, Triple H. Today was an exciting day. I mean, from the moment today started, we actually took a group picture of everybody here, and we actually couldn't have everybody because this is the day after Thanksgiving, and everybody couldn't make it, but we had 95% of everybody here, and we all took a nice family group picture here at the shop, and it turned out really good. We're going to post that on our Facebook page, and it just, it's been a great year for Hamilton Piano Company, not just with the how busy we are, because we are extremely busy. A lot of piano sales. We're selling like crazy because we have the really good prices and really good pianos. And we're really truthful about what we do here. So, but it was that, and also we got to add something to our family. We got a new truck.
So that makes 3 trucks now.
So now we have 3 trucks. So it's technically a fleet.
Exactly.
Because we have 3. And I love it. I was driving it back from a Rego Dodge, and I've bought several vehicles from them through the years. And I traded in the old truck, and I worked with them on the pricing. I felt the pricing was fair. I think I liked my salesman, everything about it. So anyone that's local that, is looking for a vehicle, give them a shot. You never know. May work, it may not, but they're worth a shot.
Tell them Hamilton Piano sent you.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot this year has happened for us. Okay, we're at the end of the year. The types of rebuilds that we've done, where we've sent our pianos to: Pennsylvania, California, Alabama, Carolinas. And that's just a couple of the rebuilds that we've done. We're not talking about the pianos that we ship all over the country all the time. Mm-hmm. We're doing that every couple weeks pretty much. And now with this 3rd truck, we're going to start doing a little bit more of that in-house, where we are going to do more of a door-to-door type of service deal here. So that's why it was so important that we got this Ram 2500 to be able to tow whatever we needed to tow, because that thing will tow it. It's a bad mamma jamma.
Anything that we have to offer it can tow. For sure. This will be the 3rd one that I've had to run. Not that it's just going to be me running it, but there's no substitute for it.
Yeah.
When you get up in the mountains, I've killed a gas truck pulling a trailer in the mountains.
We've heard.
Well, because every time I would see you, you'd pull in with another truck before you came on board here.
I killed that truck.
Yeah.
Well, no, I only killed one, but when I had that one is when I would have rental trucks all the time. When I had the gas truck. When I had the good diesel trucks, it was, you always saw the same silver Dodge every time. Whether it was the first one or the second one, but you can't kill them. If you try hard enough, I'm sure you can, but you can't kill them with pianos.
Right. Well, this is my first diesel. I've never had a diesel vehicle, and I like the get up it's got, and I like the way it sounds. And so on day 1, I've only had it here for a couple hours. I liked it even just the trip back from Rico to here. Sure. But even on the test drive, it was so smooth and so comfortable. And it, it's not a higher end one. It's the tradesman, but I was talking with my brother-in-law, who knows a lot about cars, and he said he thinks they're built very, very well. So, and we got the extended warranty, so we're covered bumper to bumper, 7 years, so 125,000 miles. Oh, we're not.
At which point it'll be.
You are not going to kill this one.
No.
So, but yeah, today was a great day. This year was a great year. We hope it was for everybody that's listening too, because that's what we all want in life, is for everybody to have that type of conversation, and have that kind of feeling where it's like, life was good this year. 2025's every New Year's is a reset, is a restart, and you get, you look at things like, oh, it's a second chance, or it's this, or whatever, however you look at it. But basically, it's when a new year comes around, for me, that's how I look at it. It's like, okay, this year was good. Let's make next year better. How do we do that? It's not about how many pianos you sell. It's not about how much money the company brings in. It's not about that. It's about what in life in general. You know, are you, for some people who may have had not, good health this year, hopefully next year, 2025 is a better year for you health-wise, things like that, just, I always like looking at the glass, half full, not, half empty. I'm a optimist and not a pessimist.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, it's been a great year. And today being my 1 year anniversary with Hamilton Piano, thank you for the gift of a truck for my 1 year anniversary. But no, it's exciting. It's fun. It's been a great year for me coming on board here. It's been fun. Just being part of this place has been awesome. Not like anything I've exactly had before, and it's fun to see the growth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've been with real big companies, and I've been with small companies. And this is, something, being part of the growth of this company is a lot of fun.
And being new, like, a rookie for the sense in the term, for a year, look at all that the shop has done in 1 year.
Yep.
It's like when we do the addition that we want to add, the 20,000 square feet.
Yeah.
What is this company going to accomplish with 20,000 square feet or 30,000 if we go that high? I don't know yet. But what we're going to be able to do is have absolutely everything under one roof. I mean, a mega of not just pianos, but other instruments, and a recital hall, and a recording studio, and all these things that is going to benefit anybody that's associated with it, whether you work here, whether you buy here, whether you need to use our facility for a recital or to record to get your kids into college or Bach or Dreyfus or whatever. I mean, that's why that goal is so important, I think, for me, is because you are being able to give back to the community in another way that we can't do. Now, we do recitals here where we move these pianos around and set the chairs up, and that's all well and good, and the teachers like it, but now taking that up a notch or several notches, because there is a need for it. I mean, every teacher that I've mentioned it to loves the idea.
Yeah.
And then you throw in the recording area aspect of it. That's a whole nother level. I mean, there isn't a place. I mean, Ravenscroft, when I went for Renner, and Ravenscroft has that, they do have a recording studio, and they have a theater, a concert hall, super nice, like top notch, really, really good. And then down the road, they have where they build the pianos, the Ravenscroft, super nice shop. But for me, it's like, it's one thing, it's all in one building, and two, they build pianos, not rebuilding, so it's a little bit different. So when that time comes, and we are doing our podcast at that point in time, I think that it's going to be so exciting, and we're going to be able to benefit so many people in the community, and the kids graduating from school or trying to get into, like I said, the middle schools, and they need a recording. Here we got this recording studio. I'll give you a perfect example. I think it was Monday. A lady comes in with her two kids, and she goes, "We're here from New York. My daughter has to take her piano lesson, but we didn't, we have nowhere to do it. Is there a spot where we can take a piano lesson online, with the teacher?" And I said, "Jordan, out of the office, let them use your office for a half an hour, because that's where we have our lessons, on Saturdays." And so we did, and she did her lesson. I had to leave, so I don't know exactly how long they were here for, but it was one of those things. It's like, we can help.
Yeah,
so,
whatever you need.
Right. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
So it's just all good stuff, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next year. I mean, we had a great year this year, so I can only imagine what's going to come next year.
Every year seems to have a trend with us.
Absolutely.
It's always, growing. It's always being like, okay, so we did this past year. What can we do for next year? And it's kind of mind-boggling if you think about it, because we accomplish a lot of stuff in 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what goes through these walls and what we do outside these walls. I mean, I was so proud when we were taking this picture, and I saw, that when I was just pretty much starting on my own in 2008, and I was starting it, it's pretty much just me. I mean, I know you would help me move pianos here or there, and Tony once in a blue moon, but it was pretty much just me. Now we grew into this.
Working out of your garage.
21 people were here. And
a legitimate team.
A legitimate
real team of different departments.
Yep.
And experts in each department.
Exactly.
And yeah, no,
and Tina and I were talking about it when we were going out to look at the truck. I said, honey, we really got a good team. I mean, she goes, oh yeah. I mean, she sees it too. And I think we all see it in each other, that it's like we are very, very strong together. I think more so than most companies have that, I'm talking about in the piano world, because it's so hard to find good people in this business.
Yeah.
And then when you find a good person, then you can train them and they stick with it and they like it and they're good at it. And it's like, all right, it's like trying to find everybody's niche. Everybody's got
I can
that.
Breathe a little bit.
Right, exactly. You're better at this than me. Here you go.
I think any of the companies that ever made it real big in this business have had that at some point.
Yes.
You have to find the right mix of people to make that growth, and people in different departments and experts, not only people that are good at what they do, but get along with everybody else. And when those companies start to falter is probably when they start missing a few of those pieces.
Right.
Yep.
And I was just making sure we're still recording because I think we're having a good conversation. Like, sorry, Jordan, we messed this up. But yeah,
we had a pretty nice flow until then.
Sorry. I need to put an acrylic glass right here so I can just look down and see the thing recording.
Okay, call Trevor.
So, but yeah, it's like, okay, so now because of how good this year was with the camaraderie, with business, with, the expansion goals, and that's the thing. We don't stall. In any department here, we do not stall. I mean, we're always improving, like, the moving. We need this equipment. We need these pads, this type of stuff. It's better, bigger stuff. Okay, we do it, get it, and life is easier. With Trevor, talking with him with the soundboards and hey, let's tweak this a little bit. Let's try this because I learned this from so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. We're always trying to expand our knowledge, and in life, like with the building, that's going to expand into that.
Absolutely.
Treasure. I just said treasure. Sorry, Trev. Treasure, as he's sometimes known now. He's got his first D coming up, huh?
Well, he's not doing a soundboard.
Oh, he's not.
No.
I thought we were doing a soundboard.
No, not on that one.
He's dying to do that.
Oh, sorry, Trevor.
Not on that piano. He knows more
Yeah.
than me. I'm the one talking out of turn. But he's like, I really want to do a D. We were talking about it with D. Palmer the other day.
Okay.
He's like, I really want to do a D. That's whenever we can make that happen.
We can, because we actually have that Steinway D that's from
The white one?
Yeah, that one's late 1800s, early 1900s. That one's a very difficult one to do because I never really saw the piano, but I think it's a 3/4 plate and it's one of those very difficult, styles to do.
I know what you're talking about.
I did a couple of those with my mentor, Misael, and he and when I did it with him, I was actually new into the soundboard, world. And I'm already freaked out over just a modern one. We're doing an older one, but it's I can show him. And it's really we did an Aurard one time, a 200-year-old Aurard, and the plate had to be taken apart. It was not all one piece. So we had to take, the struts came out and it was separated. So we had to take everything apart and label it and mark it exactly precise to go back to where it needed to go. Yeah, it was tricky.
I don't know that I've ever heard about that. If I have, I've forgotten about it.
Yeah, so, and some of the older Steinways too, they have what's called the dead corner in the bass section where there's no tone from the soundboard that comes from that. So they actually cut that part of the soundboard out, and then they would put a rail there, and it looks like a little cubby or something, it's kind of a step down. And so that's a little tricky to do too, but these are all things that Trevor will get to that point where when we get to those type of pianos and we do them.
Yeah.
But we're having so many cool customers coming in too with the custom work that we're doing, like the Yamaha that's over there that we're making those custom legs, and we're going to highlight certain parts in the color purple that she wants and customize the bench and things like that. And those are the types of projects that I like doing because it's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So when I came up with the design for those legs, and her designer, I showed her over FaceTime, loved it. That's fun. That stuff is fun. just like when we did the piano to Mason Hamlin for California and came up with incorporating the father's initials into the legs and into the lyre, and did that. That turned out really good. And you can see that piano on our website at hamiltonpianoco.com. It's a purple, yes, purple, Mason and Hamlin, what they call a symmetrogram or butterfly grand, where the lid actually opens up like this in the middle. Really cool piano. And Tony had installed a mute rail system that we were told was impossible to do. And he did it. And I'm not kidding you, there was like millimeters of clearance, but it all worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's the piano is a whole new world, to people that don't have a clue into it. I'll give you an example. So this morning, I went to go look at a piano, and it was at a store. So I went and looked at the piano. The customer showed up a few minutes later, and it's a Steinway S. It needs to be rebuilt. The whole thing.
Is that a piano store?
It's at a thrift store, but it's a higher end thrift store. Sure. Like they have really nice stuff there. Yep. So I go look at the piano, and the guy that runs the store or works there or whatever was nice enough to let me in earlier because I didn't know they opened at 10. I was there at 9:30, so he let me in. Well, he gave me, the technician that looked at the piano, what his evaluation was, and I'm like, yeah.
Did you know him?
Yes.
Do we know him?
Yes. I'm not saying anything. I'm good friends with him, but I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay. So now there's the reason why I'm saying that is because you get when someone says one thing, they have a whole different opinion about what the piano is. Well, this guy says this and blah, blah, blah. Because that's even what the guy said. I guess another person I looked at, another technician, he's like, oh, you get all different opinions on the piano. I said, well, yeah, you do. They said, I agree with some of the things, but not everything, So when the customer came, I started showing her. Now her son is going to FAU for majoring in music. And I said, even if you rebuild this piano, it's not going to be up to your standards, because I had him play the piano for me. I needed to see what kind of a pianist he is. That's all makes the difference in the world. Like when a customer comes in to look at buying a piano, if they play the piano, whether it's their child or them, I say, can you just play it for me? It gives me an idea of where they are, and it's like, holy crap, you need a good piano, or you could start with this one and then work into this. It's about making sure we find you the right piano. It's not about selling you a piano, about finding
You're diagnosing the piano for them.
Right. So he sat down and played, and I saw him fumbling. And I said, it's not you, it's the piano. And he goes, oh, I thought it was me. I said, no, watch this. So I started hitting those keys, and they were barely coming back up. He's like, yeah, this one's not working. I said, yeah, this piano has what's called verdigris in it, which is a corrosion that, are in a lot of Steinways, and it's not you. So it's not you. I said, but when you come to my shop tomorrow, you'll play any of my pianos, and you'll be able to play it like you're on a concert stage, because that's what we do. We go through them all, which you know. So that's what they're going to do. But I did tell them, listen, you can rebuild this, but even for your needs, I don't think this piano is going to be the right piano for you. If it was maybe an M or an L or O, even an A, I mean, depending on what room you have. I said, what other piano? I said, do you have another piano? She goes, yeah, Steinway B. And I said, okay. And they also have a couple other pianos at a couple other houses. And I said, well, going from a B and the other pianos you're telling me to this, you're not going to be happy.
That piano, no matter what you're going to do, is going to max out before it gets to their level.
Exactly.
So.
I could foresee it that he's already outgrown that piano, no matter how good of a job we do. You know what I mean? It's just, it's like, go to something a little bit bigger. You're going to get, if you can fit it, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
So they're going to come tomorrow, and we're going to show them around, and, and you tell me what you want me to do. I'm just here to offer my opinion, and I will do whatever you want. That's what we do here, because I had a customer in.
So the guy at the antique store was not too happy with you?
No. Actually, in the beginning, I think
at the
he
thrift
was
store.
Whatever it was.
We went to the antique store.
Oh, that's right. Well, so I got notes here about the antique store.
So, and maybe it was a high end store, but it was used stuff. So maybe it wasn't a thrift store, maybe a pre-owned. They had really nice stuff in there. So anyway, maybe he was a little pushed back by me because. I don't know if he overheard what I was saying, but I was actually talking to him too. I said, hey, this is my opinion, but blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I mean, it behooves him to know what he's got on his floor, too.
Yeah, he should know. Has he been to our facility? Did you invite him to the facility so that way you can show him what we know and why you say what you say?
I didn't, but I did explain to him, and I think he really paid attention to the back of my shirt that has all our information on it, because I did tell him that, with what the other technician was saying, I don't agree with. And I did talk to him before my customer came in, and he was telling me what the technician said. And I said, he's right about that. But, and I started talking to him a little bit, but he was trying to open up the store, so I didn't get much time to talk to him. But he did come back when I was talking with the customer, and I was talking with them quite a bit. I was talking to him about some things. So, yes, but, it's one of those things that it's kind of like a fine line, too. It's like, listen, I know you want to sell this piano. And what they were asking, not a problem. It wasn't like way overageous price. I mean, it was a fair price. It was a fair price because it was in a wholesale price, because it is a wholesale piano. Yes, it did play. Yes, it was decent looking. The refinishing wasn't too bad, but the inner workings still needed to be completely redone. But if someone bought it as a piece of furniture, different story. But pianos are not pieces of furniture.
And you didn't buy it? Congratulations. All right.
Victory.
Piano Anonymous wins one.
No, because we got enough. We just have more than our fair share of pianos.
Can you write this down?
It's
Today's
recorded.
date is.
It's recorded. It's time stamped. Everything. You don't have to worry about that. But it will be a beautiful piano, but for their purposes, no. If it was for little Susie to start playing on, a little different story, Yeah. But it's that fine line too. It's like, a technician between the customer and the dealer. If there's, a customer asks you something, you always have to be honest. That's upfront. That's foremost. But there's also like, well, you work for a dealer, and then if there's, I don't know, was this piano tuned before it was delivered? You have to kind of say, well, yes, it was, but and be on that fine line to make sure that you please both parties. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like a mediator, not a mediator. Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, where you got to make sure that both people are happy. But here, we don't have to worry about that, because everything is transparent. It is, like the acrylic piece that we have covering over our mics, you see through it. We are as transparent as can be, because we're upfront with everything. People ask me all the time, where'd this piano come from? A lot of times I don't remember. And then I say, well, let me check my records. Okay, this was a one-owner piano by, a little old lady that owned it for 30 years or whatever, and she hardly played it. Look, you can tell by this and this and this and blah, blah, blah. And then I say, this was a 100-year-old piano that we had to rebuild and do this to, So, but I think because of our honesty is why we're so busy too. We're not,
for sure.
We don't hide anything here. We have bright lights to show in case the pianos.
It's kind of a fresh twist on the piano. People don't always get that when they're going to shop for pianos.
Right,
exactly.
And people, I think, have experienced that and get that they're getting their leg pulled a little bit when they go to certain places. And that's why this place is so refreshing, and people are blown away, because we're just people that work on pianos and move pianos. So it's not, they're not getting sold.
Do anything that we possibly
find a
can
piano.
that we know how to do. And if we don't, then we say, hey, can you help me?
Yeah.
Show me how to do this.
Yep. These pianos are here to be, to go to the right house.
Yeah.
And so many times that happens. It really does, where I'm like, I'm so glad that this customer has this piano, because I know that it was the perfect fit, for them. Like the church piano that they just bought from us.
Yeah.
And they were so extremely happy, and it was the right size for them, the right color, everything. They loved it. And that's what that win-win-win, philosophy. That's what I want in everything. There have been times that a customer bought a piano from us, and I'm like, I don't think this was the right one for you, and I would tell them when they were here, but they didn't listen, delivered it, and they're like,
yeah, this ain't the right one for me.
Right. And I said, come on back, let's get you another one. This is what I would recommend. And it could be the exact same price piano. It's not like, okay, well, let me sell you a piano that's twice as much. No, it's just let me make sure you get the right piano.
Yeah.
So by doing that, and that's the point. We earlier when I had that customer come in, we had the Hayden piano that has we had it custom made, the one with the smaller keys for people with smaller hands or maybe kids. So I had that custom made at the factory, and it came in because that one was already sold, and this customer from Port St. Lucie, so she came in to play it. And she was playing it, and she liked it, but she didn't like the sound of the piano, the tone of it. I said, well, we can voice it, we can make it brighter, so on and so forth. And so I showed her and her sister around the shop, and as we were walking through, she goes, do you have any Steinway verticals? I said, yeah, I have this one right over here. So she sat down and played it, and she actually played it better than the Hayden because it was for whatever reason, it was what fit her fingers, and it fit her what she wanted to hear, the tone of the piano.
So on that note, because I had a note here to bring up the Hayden, and that's called the 6.0, is that?
Yes, correct.
So people may not know what that is,
okay, or
that it exists or anything about it. So shed some light on that.
Sure. So basically what it is I think a gentleman had come up with this 15 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, a little less. And let's say that this here is the width of the action. Okay. And you have your keys that kind of follow that. I mean, they're not perfectly straight. They do,
angle off and
right.
Yep.
But what he came up with is that if this is the width, now the keys are this narrow, and then they spread out. So it keeps the original action in. It's just the keys are smaller in width. And what that does is allows someone who has small hands to be able to do an octave or a tenth or whatever to reach that. You know what I mean? So when she played it, she could feel it, but it just wasn't the right tone and touch for her.
Right.
She went to that Steinway, fell in love with it, and I gave her a really good price on it. And because we're broke 100 piano sales this year, so and
101, no
104. We're at 104 right now.
Oh wow!
Yep. And 9 more. We match our record. If we can do 10, we broke our record. So she played it. She loved it. She says, "Okay, I'll take it." And her sister said to me, "Thank you for not pushing us into the piano." I said, "That's not my job. My job is to make sure you find the right piano." Obviously,
we don't want to exchange it for you.
Obviously, that may have happened to her at another store. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where it's like, buy here, buy now.
A lot of places that I used to work for.
Yep.
They're pushy people. Yep. They're car salesmen with pianos.
Right. And we are far from that. Yeah. It is about making sure that your experience.
Not that car salesmen are bad. They're really, really
mine
good.
Mine today was great. I really liked them. But it is about when you come into our shop, when you walk out, we want you to feel educated that you made, if you buy a piano from us, the right decision. We want you to feel comfortable, and we want you to know that if anything in the future goes wrong with the piano, we're still here. We can back ourselves up, like we've talked about before.
We're your extended family.
Right, exactly. I've told customers, I said, even though my piano is in your home, it's still kind of part of the Hamilton piano family, because we take care of it.
Yeah, we're servicing it.
Yeah, we're not like, okay, now we're just going to send Joe Blow Tuner to take care of it, and then you call whoever you want after that. No, we want to service it. We want to keep it in good condition. Mm-hmm. That's our job, ambassadors of pianos,
That's right. That's right.
And that's the lick on the stamp. So
you've been waiting so long to get that.
That just came up. So I'm just to let everybody in on that. We were talking one night, and I'm like, it's when something's final, when something is, that's it, it's said and done, it's all over. I said, that's the lick on the stamp. I'm like, done, and that's out, and so that's what that means, lick on the stamp.
Kind of one of our running gags around here lately.
I even got my wife saying it.
Yeah. I think the T-shirts are getting printed
up.
Yep.
And then the go for Tobe. But yeah, and the thing is too is once again when people come here, they are so the things we keep hearing is how impressed they are, how organized things are, and that they never knew what went into the piano. Now you still don't know everything, but you know something more than when you first walked into the shop.
Sure. Yeah.
You have gained knowledge that can be beneficial to you for the future. Whether you go to somewhere else to look at a piano, another store, or a private person or whatever. But the pros and cons are private person, you get no warranty. You don't know what could be wrong with the piano, so on and so forth. With here, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we picked one up tonight that we're delivering tomorrow from Hawkins Antiques right here in West Palm. And I was speaking with Ray tonight. We just took these 2 pianos to him just this past week.
Wednesday?
Yeah. And he, one of them's an older, I believe it Chickering. I don't know. It's a Kanabe. It's an older sort of an antique-y, I hate that word, but kind of piano. It doesn't play great. And the other one was a Yamaha.
T1.
Quite a bit better piano with a player system on it. And he sold that in just a couple, 3 days. So I said, well, you sell this other one quick. Talk to Toby. Maybe we'll slide a piano in here for you and let you keep one here.
You'll be our sister store.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's how we can branch out without having to do that, right? But I told him to come by too because he's doing some of the cleaning up himself and stuff. So I told him come on by the shop and check out what we do here, and you're going to be blown away because he has a kind of a penchant for pianos too. His wife is a violin teacher, I believe, right?
Music teacher.
So yeah, she teaches, I think, cello, violin, and all that kind of stuff. And so he's got a bunch of those instruments too. So he's got an in the business as well. So we're trying to maybe keep him with a piano there. It might be a little spot for us.
Yeah, it's
might be a win-win-win.
And with that win-win-win is cooperating, not competing. When you compete,
right,
it doesn't win.
Right.
I mean, you got a 50-50
enough
chance of losing.
Yeah.
But when you cooperate, you got a 100% chance of
Absolutely.
winning because you're a team, And unfortunately, in any industry, not just ours, I think that's what happens is there are people are just, like this. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say there haven't been times that I'm like, oh, man, I wish that customer would have got this piano for me, because I knew it was the perfect piano for them, blah, blah, blah. But on the other side of the coin is sometimes the customer is very happy with their purchase, which is great. But I've also heard we did get another piano. We're not happy. And that's the last thing that I want to hear. I'm like, and I tell them, well, bring it back, or maybe you can upgrade it.
But I didn't get it from you.
Right.
And not everybody has the same policy as far as that kind of stuff
Correct.
either. So you can get screwed.
You
if somebody's not happy with us, we're going to try to fix the piano
Yep.
to make it to your liking. We've had a number of customers that, even with a good rebuild, it's taken a lot of tweaking in the house and that stuff and get them happy.
And we've done it.
Well, another perfect example. So Tony was dealing with this one customer, and he was looking for a specific Kauai baby grand piano. So, excuse me. So we had one. We brought it in, set it up. I didn't really look at the piano. I just told him, hey, we have it set up. Come in and try it out. So this was about a month ago. So he tried it out, and I don't think I was here for that either.
You weren't.
Yeah. So I called him, and I said, just checking to see what you thought about the piano. He goes, yeah, it's okay, but it's not really what I'm looking for. And I said, okay, no problem. So after the conversation, I actually went to the piano. I'm like, I'm not selling this. No, wait a minute. No. This piano needs a lot more work to be done to it than I didn't know it was in that type of a condition. So what did we do? Hey, guys, break it down. It's going out until
Tony's guys take it back out of here.
And that's what we did. So he called me Wednesday, I think it was. He goes, hey, did you ever finish working on that Kauai that I looked at? And I said, no, Mr. So-and-so, I didn't. I actually, after you had left, I tried the piano. And I was not going to sell it because I have to do so much work to that piano because someone had replaced the hammers and replaced the strings. It's not up to my standards, so I'm going to have to do a lot more work to it. So I completely just said don't have time for this now, so we put it back into storage. But I do have 2 pianos
that you and I found in one of our storage units this past week.
Right. So I said, hey, I do have these 2 pianos. Would you be interested in seeing these? He said, absolutely. So when you and Trevor or Tony, when you guys went there, I called him. He said, yes, please bring them in. He came that day and bought one of them.
Yep.
You know, he was like, this is the best piano I've ever played. And we haven't even done anything to it yet, but it was in such better shape. It's like, yes, I can sell this.
I don't even know about what piano is that?
The GE2.
The GE2?
Kawhi.
Because he was looking for a KG1.
KG1, yep. And that's all he was kind of hell-bent on. And I'm like, you sure you don't want another different type of Kawhi? He says, well, what do you have? I told him. So we brought him in. He came in, 4:30 that night, I think.
Him and I talked a little bit, and he goes, this is like buying my first car. Mm-hmm. I've been playing a piano for 60 years. He goes, I've been playing the one my parents bought for me back when I was a kid. He goes, so
That's what he still has?
So used to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm
and
so used to it.
Yeah.
He goes, this one feels exactly like the one that I have.
Wow.
And he goes, it's like when I walk into a room, I don't know anybody. He goes, but I see a piano, I have a friend. He goes, and then I want to play the friend.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, and get to know him a lot better. So, I mean, it was just.
And he played both Kawhis. And
Is he a good player?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And one he liked and one he didn't. And he sat there, and so he says, he told me what his budget is, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, really, it's this price, but I'm gonna make it happen for you. You should have seen him light up. He was so happy. Mm-hmm. And so he calls his wife. I got it. I got the piano.
Really?
Yeah. It was
awesome.
worth taking a loss just to see how happy he was, you know, because he was so happy, and he's FaceTiming her. Look.
Yep.
And he goes, when can you deliver? Can you bring it tomorrow or this week? I said, no, we still have to go through, do everything that we need to do to it, because I'm not letting it go like this. I said, we're going to make the whole case look like brand new.
So
like
what do we have to do?
We have to wet sand and buff the case, polish the hardware. I think Brandon, my son, started on the action today, and get the action regulated, hammer shaped, lubricated, everything.
Strings good.
Strings need to be cleaned. So yeah. Other than that, but yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't know that had happened.
Yep.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, because all you knew was I was so proud to tell you that I sold a piano from storage.
Yes, yeah.
Brought 2 in, sold 1.
Nothing got elaborated on as far as that. So what was the other one we brought in?
GM10.
GM10.
That one we brought in pretty recently, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just brought them both in the same day.
Yeah, but he said
Oh,
came in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to say June or July.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So that one was another one that we're going to. That one's.
You're gonna keep here and.
Yep, we'll get it done, and it's another good piano. I mean, we have so many. It's like when I go to look at a piano, like you guys do, because you look at them more than me now for the most part. But with certain pianos, when I go to look at it, I get a feeling about the piano that, especially the older Steinways, it's like, this is going to be a great piano when it's done. Just like that one that came in, the Mason Hamlin A, the Steinway B that we have now, just
the GS70
that
you haven't even
GS70,
seen yet.
Oh, baby. But even the ones that need to be rebuilt that sound like crap at this point in time, you can tell, man, I know this thing's going to be a bad mamma jamma when it's done. And I think I got that from my father, because my father, his 9-foot Steinway that he had for decades that he never got to rebuild, he always told me, this piano is going to be a great piano because it already had the guts. He just didn't get to rebuild it. So I ended up rebuilding it while he was alive. But I never finished it because there were problems with the soundboard, and I wasn't into the soundboard aspect of pianos yet. So I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this. And so I put it on its side and just let it sit for years. Then I learned soundboards, learned what was wrong. Miss Al had taught me some things, fixed it, got it back in shape. And the guy that bought it, he actually was here. He came back like about a month ago.
He actually did the organs for the guy's church.
Oh, okay. Don't ask him who his name is, because he won't remember.
He probably does.
He's a nice guy. He's one of my favorites.
You say that about all of them. But he came in with his friend, excuse me, and he just loves the piano.
Yeah.
He bought about a year and a half ago from us, I think, and he's just like,
Lives down in Fort Lauderdale. He
Yep.
works at a church in Delray or Boynton Beach. line.
Yeah, and he had to actually remove, I think, part of his wall, right, to get it straight into the front door because there's too much of a tight turn. So his outside wall he had torn down so he could get it in. But he loves it, and it was win-win-win. It's a win for the piano, it's a win for the customer, and it's a win for Hamilton Piano Company because that was my father's piano that ended up getting finally completed, and it went to somebody who he tells me plays it every day.
Yep.
So
Gotta love hearing that.
Yep, it was a 1907 Steinway D, and it was a nice piano. I mean, when we were done with
I
it,
think they were $500 then. I just saw the
yeah.
chart at Steinway.
What about the guy we delivered today, the Chickering? That he told us a story about his great grandfather. He would this Chickering.
Yeah, go ahead.
This Chickering was the first Chickering ever sold to a Jewish person in the United States.
Oh wow!
Because he would go overseas and he owned, I guess, an antique store,
A furniture store, I believe. This guy's grandfather.
And he went overseas to try and buy a piano. No one would sell it to him. He goes, but the Chickering wound up selling to him, but he had to buy 3 because I only have 2 customers. So he bought the 3rd one for himself, which he passed down to his grandson, and which still owns the piano. We rebuilt the piano. So, I mean, it's
a gorgeous piano.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Krasker.
Yes.
Mr. Krasker.
Yeah. So had you heard that story?
No, but it just triggered the memory of him because I knew we were moving his piano today.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of history that pianos have, but the only person that can say it is a person who made that piano do what it did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For
Yeah,
instance,
yeah.
Mr. Kinder, who wrote the G.I. Joe song, right?
My Little
Pony,
Transformer.
on that piano that's right over there on that Yamaha. And there's another customer, I can't remember his name. I'm pulling a Mike Hayden.
You're going to love it.
It's your favorite customer.
He is my favorite customer. But he had an old Kanabi, and that story reminded me of him, and then I kind of put 2 and 2 together. But same thing.
Yeah.
Because his father was a Jewish pianist or something like that, if I remember. It's been quite a few years since I've been to him. But he has an old Kanabi that he's been wanting us to rebuild. We haven't done it. But he has, and he wrote a book about it and everything, and it's really good. I gotta try to reach out to him and maybe see if he'd want to be on the podcast because I think he has a really good story about his father.
Yeah, Mr. Krasker was real happy. He goes, are y'all tuners? And we're like, no, we're not tuners. What? Will the tuner be able to get me linked back onto the QRS system? I said, do you have the device here that you want to hook up? He goes, well, it's on the piano. I said, no. I said, iPad, phone, whatever. He goes, oh, no, my phone. I said, well, hand it to me. I said, I'll hook it up for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, he handed me his phone. He goes, I'd love to have this thing playing by the time my wife gets here, And so sure enough, it took a few extra minutes, but, to please the customer and make him as happy as could be. He had, he didn't have any furniture in the house yet. Piano was the first thing in. He had 2 truckloads.
I wonder how he's holding up it now at 6:15 at night. He was going to have a bunch of stuff going on today. He was
He's
dying
like,
because he didn't have to make any decisions today.
No, he goes, I'm not supposed to make any decisions all day. First person I talk to, I've got to make a decision.
Super nice guy, and it was a gorgeous piano. So I kind of fell in love with the piano, but just when you get a story like that, on top of that, it's just like it reminds you that some of these things we're dealing with were built in the 1800s.
Yep.
And what the world was like back in the 1800s. I was just watching a Western the other night, and there's a guy playing a piano in the background. I was like, that freaking piano is probably still around somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they could talk. If these pianos could talk. I mean, being the ones back in the day being moved by a horse and buggy.
Yep.
The square grands or whatever. And then, before electricity, there's
Hush your mouth.
Your new truck is a horse.
I don't want to hear square grand.
But candlelight. I mean, they would just have candles and to read the sheet music and that was their entertainment. It was Henry Steinway who said that the phonograph. I heard this from Jeff Chafin. That the phonograph is what helped the decline of pianos, because back then the piano was actually the most form of entertainment back then.
Sure.
Then the phonograph came into play, and it helped the demise.
You didn't have to learn piano.
Yep.
You could just listen to it. Back then, all the boys in the family went to work, and the girls in the family learned piano. Yep. Most of them. And I think at the turn of the century, we may have mentioned this before, I think there was a piano in every other house in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Not in mine.
We're far, no, the other century.
But not in my family.
It's been a continued, downward trend since the phonograph, because there's just been more and more stuff to come out to battle with it. But again, we've probably said this before too, but it's a lot stronger than what people think. There's a lot of people, getting into it.
So two things. One is, there's a customer that we rebuilt the Steinway L for him. And he had called me last week, and he says, "Hey, Tobias, I just wanted to let you know that piano you rebuilt for us, my mother, she's in her 80s now, is a very, very good pianist. And she says she never played a piano as good as that piano that you guys rebuilt." And I forgot what song he said. She goes, "I could never play this right on any piano, but on yours I can." Fell in love with it. So they're going to have us, they have a 5-generation Steinway up in Oklahoma that they're going to have picked up. You know who I'm talking about, right? I can't remember his name offhand.
He lived in PGA.
He was upstairs.
Behind the mall.
The piano was upstairs.
We took it down.
Yep.
So I think you helped me to bring it downstairs. But
Yeah,
I know
think
Cliff
so. Or
helped me bring it up.
Cliff. Yep.
Well, no, when we moved it again.
Okay.
Because we took it out of that townhouse.
Okay.
But we moved it to his house. I want to say in North Palm somewhere, but no, I know who you're talking about. I know because the mother was there when we delivered it, and he was on vacation.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, just raving about the work, and he says, "Listen, we have this piano that's in our family for 5 generations, the Steinway. We want to have it rebuilt. It's coming down to you. Do what you need to do, and then we'll give it back to us." I said, "No problem." But this was a very interesting story. About 2 weeks ago, this young guy comes in, and 2 young guys actually. And so I think you were here when he came in. So he comes in and he starts playing the piano, and I'm like, "Man, this kid's good." I'm like, "How old are you?" He's like 15. And I said, "Man, you're really, really good." And his friend goes, I don't know if it's his friend or his brother or whatnot. And he goes, "Yeah, he's only been playing for 5 months." I said, "What? 5 months?" He goes, "You know what I told him? He was so good at video games and doing this with his hands." I said, he said, "You should change that and try the piano," because I had a piano at home and start playing it that way. 5 months later, he's playing as well as he did. We had another customer in here.
Yep.
I can't remember her name. She's the one that bought that Yamaha, and she was mesmerized. And she's watching him play, and she's just like, she couldn't believe it. And she was talking to him and like, how'd you do that? Because she's wanting to learn. She's like, "How did you do that? Blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "I just kind of got into it." And, but maybe there's a good thing with the gaming where your fingers can help you play the piano better, He was here for what? I think
learn to play video games and then transfer it to piano.
I think he was here for 2-3 hours playing everything.
Yep.
And he was fantastic, man. Really, really good. So,
well, the gentleman today with the chickering that we were talking about. He so I guess his fiance's son, right? So there's a piano that she has, an old upright piano. And they don't know what to do with this piano. This is kind of a funny story.
She has 2 sons.
She's got 2 sons, and both of them want the piano. They both play really well. One of them wants to have the piano completely restored, so in which case he would have it sent to us to have done. The other son wants it as well, but wants it just like it is. And don't want to have a single thing to do with it. So
cut it in half.
Something is going to be done with that piano.
Right. We just don't know what yet.
So we just got to root for the son that wants to rebuild it.
Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this. The first 2 times we're doing 2 cameras. Please give us feedback. We want to hear from you. We want to know if there's things that you want us to talk about. And if there's anything you want to learn that we can talk to you about,
educate you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Please follow us on Facebook and on YouTube and Spotify. Listen to the podcast. Now you can watch it because we got the cameras, and we appreciate you tuning in. And please share this with everybody you can. Thank you for joining Hamilton Happy Hour, Triple H. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.